ABC News exclusive with Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne, their first TV interview since Ozzy's recovery from a major operation.
Well, here's my word: get the hell off my property now. For decades, a Beverly Hills mansion held Ozzy Osbourne's darkest secrets when the Prince of Darkness announced his retirement in 2023. His studio was immediately examined. Every medical record, personal journal, and private correspondence scrutinized. 4 months in 2024, they finally released their findings, and what they discovered inside left everyone stunned, from devastating health diagnoses to shocking family revelations to the real reason he's leaving music. This is the story of what really happened behind the scenes of heavy metal's most enduring icon. John Michael Osbourne was born on December 3, 1948 in Birmingham, England. When he was born, his family lived in extreme poverty, struggling to survive in the industrial wasteland of post-war Aston. From the very start, his life was marked by hardship. His father, Jack, worked night shifts at the General Electric factory, while his mother, Lillian, juggled caring for Ozzy and his 5 siblings. At just 15 years old, he dropped out of school, unable to read properly due to undiagnosed dyslexia. The future Prince of Darkness seemed destined for a life of factory work and obscurity. His childhood in working-class Birmingham shaped his worldview and resilience, unlike many rock stars who romanticize their humble beginnings. Ozzy's early journals describe genuine deprivation, nights without heat, shared clothes among siblings, and often not enough food. These experiences created both the hunger for success and the self-destructive tendencies that would define his career and personal life for decades to come. Documents found in Ozzy's home revealed that his struggle with learning disabilities was more severe and traumatic than previously known. School records showed that teachers often subjected him to humiliation and corporal punishment for his inability to read properly, mistaking his dyslexia for laziness or defiance. Personal writings describe how these experiences created a deep-seated belief that he was stupid and worthless, feelings he would later attempt to numb through substances before finding success in music. Ozzy worked a series of menial jobs: slaughterhouse worker, plumbers, assistant car factory horn tuner, and even a brief as a burglar that landed him in prison for 6 weeks. These experiences, detailed in journals found in his home, reveal how desperate he was to escape Birmingham's industrial fate. One particularly revealing entry from 1967 reads, "Either I find a way out through music, or I'll die in the factories like everyone else. There's nothing else for someone like me." Ozzy's musical journey began with Geezer Butler, who invited him to join the band Rare Breed. When that group dissolved, they formed Earth, which eventually evolved into Black Sabbath. In 1969, with Tony Iommi and Bill Ward, they pioneered a heavy doom-laden sound that would revolutionize rock music. Sabbath's early success was meteoric. Their first 5 albums all achieved gold or platinum status, creating a template for heavy metal that remains influential today. Private financial records found in Ozzy's estate tell a different story about those glory years than bands might expect. Despite selling millions of albums, the band members saw surprisingly little of the profits. Contracts signed with their early management were heavily exploitative, with the band receiving less than 6% of record royalties. A letter from 1973 shows Ozzy complaining to management that despite global fame, he was still unable to buy a modest home for his first wife, Thelma, and their children. What's more shocking are the medical evaluations from that era found among Ozzy's personal files. Even at the Height of Black Sabbath's success. Doctors warned him about his drinking and drug use. A medical report from 1975 notes signs of liver damage and early cognitive effects that should have served as a warning. Instead, the band's management appeared to have deliberately kept these health concerns from Ozzy, concerned that sobriety might affect his stage persona. The eventual firing from Black Sabbath in 1979 hit AIE harder than previously known. Journal entries from this period reveal a man contemplating suicide convinced his career was over. One particularly dark entry reads, "No band, no money, no future. Maybe everyone would be better off if I just disappeared for good." These documents shed new light on what Ozzy has often described as the lowest point in his life before meeting Sharon Arden, later Osbourne, who would become his manager and second wife. Sharon's entrance into Ozzy's life is often portrayed as his salvation, but letters between the two reveal a more complex beginning. Sharon initially approached managing Ozzy as a business opportunity to prove herself to her father, music manager Don Arden. A draft contract found among Ozzy's papers shows she originally proposed taking 50% of his earnings, a figure they negotiated down before signing. Nevertheless, her belief in his solo potential was genuine, with a business plan outlining how she intended to transform him from Black Sabbath's fired singer to rock's premier solo artist. The strategy worked brilliantly, with Sharon's guidance and the talents of guitarist Randy Rhoads. Ozzy's solo career quickly eclipsed his Sabbath success. Blizzard of Oz 1980 and Diary of a Madman 1981 established him as a viable solo artist, creating the foundation for a career that would span over 4 decades. The bat-biting and dove incidents, while shocking to the public, were revealed in Sharon's private notes to be carefully calculated publicity stunts designed to create Ozzy's wild persona. Perhaps the most devastating document found in Ozzy's collection was a never-sent letter to Randy Rhoads, dated 2 weeks after the guitarist's death in a 1982 plane crash. In this raw, emotional letter, AIE expresses overwhelming guilt for the events leading to the accident and admits contemplating ending his own life. In the aftermath, "I can't stop thinking that if I hadn't hired you, you'd still be teaching guitar somewhere alive and creating music." He wrote, "The world lost a genius and I lost the best friend I never deserved." Medical records from the 1980s paint a disturbing picture of Ozzy's deteriorating health. By 1986, doctors were already warning him of permanent neurological damage from substance abuse. One neurologist's report stated bluntly, "Patient shows cognitive impairment consistent with early onset dementia. Patterns of current alcohol and drug use. Continues irreversible brain damages." Certain despite these warnings, Ozzy's addictions continued, enabled by an entourage to keep him functional enough to perform. The 1990s brought a new phase in Ozzy's career with the creation of Ozfest in 1996, a touring festival that kept him relevant to new generations of metal fans. Financial documents reveal that this business venture, spearheaded by Sharon, saved the Osbournes from potential bankruptcy following years of extravagant spending and poor 1998, the reality TV show The Osbournes, which aired from 2002 to 2005, presented the family as chaotically endearing, but private correspondence suggests a different reality behind the scenes. Production notes found in Ozzy's files reveal that many scenes were staged or manipulated for dramatic effect. More troublingly, medical records show that Ozzy's medication was often adjusted before filming to accentuate his confused behavior, which had become a popular aspect of the show despite doctors' warning against such manipulation. Letters between Ozzy and his children during this period reveal his growing awareness that his public image was slipping out of his control. In one heartfelt letter to his daughter, Kelly, from 2004, he wrote, "I've somehow become a cartoon of myself. People laugh at me now, not with me. I'm not sure how to be real anymore when cameras are always around. This identity crisis contributed to a severe relapse that was kept from the public eye during the show's final season. The most shocking discovery in Ozzy's records relates to his numerous near-death experiences. Medical files document at least 4 occasions between 1990 and 2018 when doctors told Sharon that Ozzy might not survive the night. The most serious incident, a staph infection in 2018 that affected his thumb, spread to his bloodstream and nearly caused fatal sepsis. Hospital records show that AIE was placed on life support for 72 hours. AC crisis that was completely hidden from fans and media. A confidential neurological assessment from 2019 provides the most comprehensive picture of Ozzy's current health. The report confirms that beyond his public disclosure of Parkinson's disease, Ozzy suffers from several other neurological conditions resulting from decades of substance abuse and physical trauma from accidents. The specialist noted patient exhibits symptoms consistent with multiple system atrophy, traumatic brain injury, SLE, and advanced peripheral neuropathy. Prognosis is for maintaining current quality of life beyond 3 to 5 years is poor. This devastating diagnosis coincided with a severe fall at home that dislodged metal rods previously inserted in his back after a 2003 ATV accident. The combination of these health crises led to multiple surgeries in 2019, with surgical notes indicating that several procedures were considered extremely high risk due to Ozzy's overall condition. One surgeon noted patient has been advised of significant mortality risk but insists on proceeding to alleviate chronic pain. Despite these serious health challenges, AIE pushed himself to complete his final album, Patient Number 9, released in 2022. Studio logs found in his home reveal the physical toll this took, with sessions often limited to 30-minute increments due to pain and fatigue. Producer Andrew Watts' notes describe Ozzy needing oxygen between vocal takes and sometimes requiring medical supervision during recording sessions. The most poignant documents discovered were letters Ozzy had written to each family member, apparently intended to be read after his death. These deeply personal messages express regrets about his absences during his children's formative years, apologies for the chaos his addictions caused, and profound gratitude for their loyalty despite his failings. To Sharon, he wrote, "You saved me. In every way a person can be saved. Any good I've done in this life happened because you refused to let me disappear into." Ozzy's doctors presented him with a stark choice in late 2022: immediately cease the physical stress of touring and possibly extend his life by several years, or continue performing and risk a catastrophic health event within months. For perhaps the first time in his career, Ozzy chose his health over his audience. A final neurological assessment from February 2024 confirmed the wisdom of this decision. The report indicates significant progression of his Parkinson's symptoms despite aggressive treatment, along with concerning cognitive changes that doctors attribute to both the disease and the cumulative effect of decades of trauma to his brain. The specialist recommended focusing on quality of life and comfort measures, rather than aggressive interventions. Going forward, Sharon Osbourne, when approached about these revelations, acknowledged A's serious health challenges but emphasized his resilient spirit. After everything he survived, I wouldn't count Ozzy out of anything, she stated. Yes, he faces difficult health battles, but he faces them with the same determination that's defined his entire life. The decision to step back from touring was heartbreaking for him, but it's allowing him precious time with his family. His children have rallied around him during this difficult transition. Jack Osbourne has taken on the role of documenting his father's life and legacy, including rare performance footage and personal stories that Ozzy hopes will preserve his musical contributions beyond the Prince of Darkness caricature. Kelly Osbourne described her father as more present and engaged with his grandchildren than he was able to be with us growing up. There's a piece to him now that was always hidden before for fans worldwide. The revelation of Ozzy's true health status has prompted an outpouring of support and reflection on his enormous influence on rock music, from pioneering heavy metal with Black Sabbath to his successful solo career to creating Know for certain is that whatever time I have left, I want to be just John the boy from Aston, who somehow against all CLS lived a life beyond his wildest dreams for the millions who have followed his journey since the early days of Black Sabbath. The final chapter of Ozzy Osbourne's public life may be closing, but the music and memories remain, as AIE himself wrote in what appears to be his final reflection on his career. I never thought I'd make it to 30, let alone 70. Every day since has been a gift I probably didn't deserve, but tried to honor in my own chaotic way. Whatever happens next, remember me for the music. In the end, that's the only part that really